Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce GT 1030 2GB GDDR5 in the Witcher 3 Next Gen update. This one is the MSI Aero version of the card. It comes overclocked out of the box. I am not pushing it further, and you can see over here that we're running it with the latest drivers. You can also check out all of the GPU specs here in Tech Power-Up's GPU Z. Again, GDDR5 model. The DDR4 version of this will get like half of the FPS and be terrible, and so will this probably. Over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 7 5700G and 16GB of RAM to avoid CPU bottlenecks, and let's get right into it now, shall we? First of all, here in the launcher, we gotta select DirectX 11 or 12. I'm gonna go with DirectX 11 because it's recommended for older PC. There's an S missing there, isn't there? I don't know. But yeah, the X12 is actually more intensive in this one, so let's play like this. Oh, look at those FPS in the menu, guys. It's always super high here in The Witcher 3, and if I do this, we got a 69 over there. Very beautiful. Anyway, let's go over the settings. Everything is set to the lowest settings possible here, as you can see. And we're starting this at 1080p, but we're also going to test lower and higher resolutions, because it isn't a crispy video without a little bit of stupidity and 4K with the 1030. Let's go. And here we go. Apparently, we are seeing a cinematic experience, you know, 24 FPS at times. Yeah, that's pretty terrible here at 1080p. Sometimes it can get 30 FPS, by the way. Oh my gosh, it is actually so stuttery right now. Look at that frame time. It's terrible. Oh boy. You know what? I tested this game on the GT 1030 like 5 years ago. And it was running at 1080p low, always above 30 FPS. I think in like vegetation areas like this one, where the FPS dropped the most because it gets more GPU bound over here. I'm sorry, did we hit Jack there? But yeah, in these areas, instead of dropping to like 23, I was seeing 35 and 34 and stuff. So yeah, massive downgrade in performance. Yes, the graphics look a little bit better in this new version of the game, but honestly, guys, I wish they didn't touch the DirectX 11 version of The Witcher 3. If they had left it as it was previously, like 5 years ago when I tested it with this card, we could have had a much better experience here with the GT 1030 and other lower ends or older GPUs as well. I really wish they had done all of the improvements in the DirectX 12 version and left the other one alone, because this is just a bit too rough, you know, going from 30 plus playable to less than 30 on a 1030 here at 1080p. So I'm not gonna mock the 1030 here. I'm actually gonna mock the developers a little bit. Why? The game already looked really good previously. Anyways, let's go 1600 by 900 now. There is a very old legend saying that this is the best resolution because it has a 6 and a 9. I'm gonna stop with those jokes. I'm sorry, okay? Let's continue here. Still using the same settings, and what I'm noticing here is anti-aliasing is disabled, as you can see. But I am still seeing a lot of softness. It's like it's still applied. Like on that ship right there, you can see a lot of aliasing on the cords there, the ropes and stuff like that, you know. Yeah, there is definitely a lot of aliasing, but in Geralt's hair, for example, and Roche, yeah, there isn't. It's like there's some TAA going on. But anyways, I'm gonna start counting the frames over here. This guy has no feet. Or maybe he just loves to dip his feet into the mud. I don't know. To each their own, you know. Here we go. Has it dropped from 30 already? I'm feeling a lot of stuttering still, guys. Not sure if it's because of like the VRAM being maxed out. Maybe 2GB cards aren't enough anymore for The Witcher 3, which is, again, extremely terrible to see because this used to be playable even on 1GB GPUs and without stuttering. But it could also be because we are exploring a new area here that I haven't been to yet in this video, and, well, it's starting to load things and starting to stutter a little bit as it goes. If by the end of this video the game is not stuttering as much, it's because it was indeed a loading issue. I'm curious to see it, though, in the... What are you... In the forest area. This guy is also dipping his feet in the ground, actually. Oh my, what are you doing? Sometimes he's flying. Look at that. Oh boy. I guess I just gotta forget that The Witcher 3 used to be a really well optimized title, and it looked great as well. The performance is a little bit lackluster. Even on like the 4080 in DirectX 12, it dropped by quite a bit, I think. Around here, seems to not be dropping as much as in Novigrad, which is great. 33. Alright. I could live with this, you know. I would definitely choose to lock the FPS for a smoother and more consistent experience. But it is definitely playable at 900p resolution, and it still looks pretty decent, not gonna lie. Next up, let's try it at 720p, and the lowest resolution in this game, by the way, is 1024 by 768, which is very similar to 720p. It gets like 3 or 4 more FPS, so I won't test it at that res. I feel like it's gonna be playable like this anyways, and over here, everything is exactly the same. I'm not touching these settings, okay? And now we're getting 40s instead of 30s around here, which is pretty nice. It's a good improvement in performance, but it's still no 60 FPS, so I think I would go for 900p with a GT 1030. It's a little bit better looking, and the overall experience is going to be really similar, especially if you lock the FPS, of course. Now, the VRAM is not maxed out anymore. It's at 1.6 gigabytes almost, so that's pretty interesting to see, and it feels like, I'm not sure yet, but it feels like it's stuttering less. It could be because we already loaded everything. It's starting to stutter a bit more now. Yeah, there we go. Frame time is going a bit crazy. Yep, okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. And here we are. Novigrad is getting 30-ish FPS, around 40 most of the time. That's okay. You know, if you have a smaller monitor, you might want to play at 720p. And if you have a 1366 by 768 monitor, which are quite popular amongst the GT 1030 owners, it gets slightly lower FPS, like 2 to 3 less FPS than what we're seeing here at 720. So instead of getting 43 on average, you'd be seeing like 40 on average. Pretty much the same experience if you disable the FPS counter. I wouldn't really be able to tell the difference between the two resolutions. Now let's shut these guys up. Oh boy, the copyright is real. They just don't want to stop. Roach, are you a ghost right now or something? Like what? We're clipping into them and stuff. Oh boy. All right, let's move on from here. I've actually been getting a ton of copyright complaints, not strikes, of course, but complaints on videos that I've made like 5 years ago with non-copyrighted songs, and now they're copyrighted. It's a very, very big shame. Those videos aren't even being watched, you know? They get like 1 view per month or something like that, but they still gotta get those fractions of cents, you know, those 0.00003 cents. They're theirs now. Alright, 31 FPS, 1% lows is much more stable than what we saw previously, so you might want to play at 720p for that stability, especially if you don't want to lock your FPS. Not gonna lie, it feels alright, it still does look pretty decent. At least you can play it still with a 1030. They didn't wreck the game to the point where it isn't playable anymore. But you know what is not playable whatsoever? 4K on a 1030. Alright, I'm managing to do this, guys. 9 FPS. We can still navigate the menu, alright? So pretty much everything's still the same. Everything but the resolution is still the same. 3840 by 2160 res. And here we go. Oh, it gets the same FPS inside of the game as the menu. Okay, at least that. At least that. It's single digits, but it's the best single digits. If I had to choose a single digit for my FPS, it would be 9 for sure, right? Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, this is absolute crap, obviously, but we can now take a look at the detail and stuff like that, even on low settings, and it looks kind of insane. If it wasn't for like some lower resolution textures, I would say that this looks better than the new Forspoken game. Yes, definitely Forspoken. Especially in terms of the color palette, guys. Those colors pop a lot more than in that newer game. Some of the textures, even on low, are comparable to Forspoken. It's interesting. It's interesting to see. But yeah, that's been it for this video, my friends. Thank you very much for watching it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back very soon with another one. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.